And so, you know, what kind of ads are working best to convert a, you know, person on Instagram to a streaming listener?
Yeah, it's actually like 2 or 3 types of content I've seen, right? And it always changes. Like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, like before like the TikTok era that like we all know about, it was like produced professional content. Then TikTok came out and invented the front-facing,
the opposite,
like the opposite, right?
Dimly
I'm rapping my song.
Yeah,
shitty audio.
Like, you know, props to the folks that cracked it because they built a big following early on, and like they were making that sort of content
For cheap.
way back in the day, right? It was easy to get followers back in the day.
Yeah.
But I think interestingly, we're kind of at a middle ground nowadays where like people are generally, the saturation is so hard on every platform that people have moved past trends, you know, in a sense, right? There's like content of artists talking to the camera, but then there's also highly produced content that does really well. So the way I see it is that, all right, you are either making a piece of content that has a really good hook that's facing you, or you're making quick cuts from a music video clip, and those two things work really well.
And so in the like raw, you know, talking to the camera, are they just talking? Are they singing?
It's
are
a
they
hook, right? It's like POV this, or like, have you ever had this situation?
Catchy title text.
Yeah, you know,
but
it's
then
like,
song.
But then song, right?
Okay.
But you got to catch them. A lot of people are scrolling Instagram on mute. So
Yeah.
you got to like, or TikTok, or not TikTok, but Instagram especially.
Yeah.
So you got to catch them with the hook.
I heard a lot of like 40% of people are on mute or something crazy.
A lot of
Dude,
them.
the amount of posts that I like that I haven't listened to is insane.
So the like machine, boom, boom, boom.
I've started to just like watch my own consumer behavior on platform, and I'm like, this is crazy. And I'm like, this just makes me rethink the podcast content sometimes.
This
I'm like,
this is what's happening with us.
this is crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So like hook and then song.
Hook, song. Well, hook, you unmute with the hook.
Yep.
Song's playing already. So put maybe like 3 minutes before the hook of the song, or 3 seconds, excuse me, before the hook of the song.
Yeah.
Because 3 seconds in, they can unmute it and it's going to start with your hook,
Interesting.
right?
That's
One
a cool
idea.
little.
Don't come in first.
Yeah.
But think about how quickly you're scrolling, right? And like
Yeah.
something has to catch your eye for you to even stop. And if it's a sponsored, you're probably not even as likely to stop scrolling, right? So the content has to be eye-catching enough in the first 3 seconds to get them to stop scrolling. So it's the first 3 seconds matter the most,
Right.
Whether it's text from a POV or like a quick, we've seen ads that are just like, you know, 2 seconds and a quick cut to another scene works just as well. But the idea is that, you know, the ad has to be good enough to stop them from scrolling, because that's a natural behavior that people have on these platforms.
Pattern interrupt.
Pattern interrupt. Boom.
Yeah.
So if I'm an artist and I'm like, fuck, I'm spending money on ads, this shit ain't working, bro. Like what's going on, man? Is there a lot of times where you're looking at the content that they're running ads against and you're like,
It's bad.
you're like, bro, how did you think that was gonna stop a random person, bro?
Well, the thing is, you can't blame artists, right? Because a lot of the education around what's like, we try our best with like Symphony University and like educational content we put out there to let people know. But I think you can't control the input, you know, like you can give them best practices and try and like get people educated to the best practices, but the input's still the input. Like,
Do you recommend that they always post organically first to see how it does, right?
100%.
I think
Always.
that's so underrated. Is
Always.
just
Always.
try it
always.
first.
Because going back to what I was saying about ABC testing songs with ads, you can use the algorithm to ABC test content for you, right?
Yeah.
So I've seen artists be like, all right, I'm gonna post these 5 clips this week, and the best one from this week for this one song is the one that becomes the ad.
Yeah.
You let the algorithm spend the money for you, so to speak.
It's proven that people like it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Why
Double
wouldn't
down.
Yeah. Why wouldn't it work?